What's up, Atlanta, and welcome to this special edition of Upfront Inside Atlanta's Entertainment Industry. I'm your host, Ray Cornelius, and today we've got something really special for you. We're going to be talking to actor extraordinaire, Golden Globe winner, and Academy Award nominee, Edward Norton. You know him from such films as Primal Fear, The Fight Club, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and American History X. Well, today he's going to be talking about his latest project, Motherless Brooklyn. The film stars Bruce Willis, Willem Dafoe, Alec Baldwin, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and Michael K. Williams. So sit back, relax, and come up front with us as we give you a sneak peek of Motherless Brooklyn. Check out the trailer.
Okay, listen. I got something wrong with me. That's the first thing to know.
I got threads in my head. I got threads in my head, man.
I twitch and shout a lot. Makes me look like a damn freak show.
Can't you ever cut that out?
I'm sorry. Touch it, Bailey.
I'm sorry. But inside my head's an even bigger mess. I can't stop twisting things around, words and sounds especially. Have to keep playing with them until they come out right. Sorry.
Jeez, figured I asked.
Like I said, a damn mess. Then I started working for Frank. Frank Minna, Private Eye.
Boys.
Frankly, Franco.
He's the one who taught me how to use my head, turn it into a strength. He gave me a place in this crappy world until I screwed up.
Frank! Brooklyn, she's in trouble now. Ooh.
Does anybody know what Frank was into on this?
There's something going down, and it's big, and they were not happy about what he found.
We find who did this, and we square accounts.
If I figure it out, I'm gonna make him regret it. I promise you that. That's her. That's the girl that Frank was following.
I think she found something.
What happens to poor people in this city wasn't news yesterday, and it won't be tomorrow.
Where's everybody go?
Mostly just disappear.
This town is run by Moses Randolph. When someone isn't seen for what they truly are, that's a very dangerous thing.
Do you have the first inkling how power works? Power is knowing that you can do whatever you want and not one person can stop you. Those people are invisible. They don't exist.
If you threaten his work, he will destroy you.
You all alone?
You got no idea.
You're webbed up in this somehow, and these people aren't gonna stop.
You got a head just like mine, always turning things around. Some people call it a gift, but it's a brain affliction just the same.
You remember what I said?
She doesn't know. She doesn't know.
What don't I know?
Hope you guys enjoyed a sneak peek of the trailer. Listen, when we come back, we're going to be talking to Edward Norton about the film and his amazing cast. We'll be right back.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner! Go?
Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family. Yeah! Oh, I thought you were on my team.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
And we're back talking to Edward Norton about his new film, Motherless Brooklyn. Let's talk about this amazing cast. You've got Bruce Willis, you've got Willem Dafoe, Michael K. Williams, and of course the beautiful Gugu Mbatha-Raw. What was the process in terms of, or let me ask you this, were they already sort of in your mind in terms of these are the people that I want to cast for the film?
Some were for sure. I mean, Bruce, you know, who's this kind of megastar, you know, he had many years ago, I was doing a play in New York, and he left me this incredibly beautiful note about the play, and literally just said to me, "I want to do this kind of work, and if you ever have something, call me. I want to be in the mix with you." And I thought, well, that's a nice thing to say, but when I ring him, he's going to say, "I'm sorry, I'm doing Die Hard 7." You know what I mean? Yeah. But when I rang, I thought, you know, when you think about like, who's the boss, who's the coolest guy in the room, the guy who knows all the angles, the real private eye. Like, that's Bruce, you know what I mean? He's like the smooth talking detective. And when I rang him up, he was like, "I'm in." I said, "Well, you should read it." He goes, I will, but I'm in. You know, and that's a real gift. I mean, that's quite a thing to have someone say. And Willem was one of my idols when I came to New York. He was the quintessential New York theater actor who had gone on and made films. And Alec, I think, is a great dramatic actor. All the social service he's been doing by parodying and attacking Trump satirically, I think, is a very real thing. But he is a truly great dramatic actor, a theater-trained actor. When I was thinking of who has that lethal combination of sort of lethal charm and lethal intimidation, he was the one I thought of for this. And Gugu's this brilliant emerging talent. Yeah. She's my only import, being English, but she too is Royal Academy trained, wonderful actress. And I really wanted Laura. She's a figure of mystery in the film. We really don't know who she is and what her involvement is. And I like the idea of someone who wasn't so famous that you know what's coming. Mm-hmm. I wanted someone who's unknown, so that you're reaching to want to know more about her the same way Lionel is. But when you have to direct a film too, it's like actors who kind of step in with their A game and don't need a lot from you is part of the key to it. And this is really one of the more wonderful casts. And Michael K. Williams, I'm like a goofy fan of. He's to me like one of the great like presences. And he was just brilliant in this role as the musician.
I got to go back to Alec Baldwin, he was totally giving me Orson Welles vibes. I mean, as soon as he walked into the room, yes. It's literally like almost, I guess, like in the cartoons where when a big character comes in, the shadow kind of covers the entire room. That was his presence when he walked in.
He has a heft, like gravitas they used to say, but he has a power to him that is very unusual. He's got he's kind of a push you into the back of your seat kind of a presence.
Yeah. Let's go back to that theme of power, because that's one of the major themes of the film, is this power struggle between his character and almost your character as well. And when I sort of liken it to a David and Goliath sort of battle, because you're having to go up against these very, very powerful men who are really controlling New York behind the scenes in a sense. So can we talk a little bit about that?
And Alec's character, amazingly, he's based on a real person who controlled New York City from 1928 to 1968, though he was never elected, never held elected office, and yet literally ran the city and state of New York with imperial authority, and was not only racist, but was very antagonistic to the idea of democracy in a way. He was a bully and believed that he was the sole decision maker, and he was, which isn't what's so incredible. But I think that in what you're calling the David and Goliath, to me, there's a question in the film in a way, which is, are we going to how much of a romance with sort of the brutal effectiveness of power are we going to tolerate versus sort of being a country literally that says taking care of each other is what we're supposed to be doing, not just the relentless push toward progress and acquisition, and kind of treating people as inconvenient or invisible and pushing them to the side. And I think that idea of that there's an ebb and flow even in our national conversation about that is important to me, because I think we're intensely in the middle of that conversation right now.
One of the other themes is gentrification.
Right.
This idea of being able to displace people, and just, with no regard that the fact that they're human beings, that they have lives, that they have created a world for themselves. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because that seems to be happening around the country even right now.
Well, it's not even just gentrification, because gentrification almost implies the shift of a demographic within an existing neighborhood. What went on in this period was in many ways much worse than that. It was that they literally labeled stable middle class and working class African American and Latino communities slums when they were not, as the rationale for literally bulldozing them to build the federal housing projects which became slums.
Right.
Literally, they created true slums and poverty traps out of what had been stable, diverse communities. And when people, Gugu has a line, she says, do you think all this is just Negro propaganda conspiracy? Like, do you think we're making this up? To me, that's the 50s. Today, you have people trying to be dismissive of Black Lives Matter. What is, this is such paranoid baloney. And it's like, these things happened. They really did set bridges too low for public buses to get under them so that minorities couldn't go to the public beaches. And so when people talk about literally infrastructural imposition of discrimination, it happened. And yet people don't really know that this is a part of New York's history to that degree. So it wasn't even just gentrification, it was literally the grinding of people. And as Alec's character says in this, these people are invisible, they don't even exist. And I think that we are seeing, obviously today, many expressions, unapologetic expressions of the same impulse to say America is for only some of us, and the others are an inconvenience that we're going to push to the side. I mean, literally yesterday they just lowered the number of immigrant, asylum seekers to the lowest it's ever been in the history of this country. And it's just, it's like, so we're, this idea that that this conversation is always an argument that we have to find the energy within our own daily struggles to push back against is very important to me. I think it's a constant part of the tension of the American debate.
Let's talk about the fact that you, again, we mentioned at the top of the show that you're not only the actor, you're the writer, but you're also the director. And in watching some of the video of you with some of the other cast members, they love the fact that they're in a scene with the director, and so you were able to say, "Hey, take that line out," or So let's talk about that.
It has its upsides and its downsides. I would say that I'm a big believer that in any dimension of storytelling and the creative enterprise, especially making films, which as we all know is an extremely technical process, once you get into the day of making a film, money is draining at a rate that can make your heart start racing. You know what I mean? I mean, you're just hemorrhaging like resources. So on the day, you better be ready. That's, be ready. And that means as an actor, the filmmaking process is it's a very technical process that's very combative with concentration, right? So for me as an actor on this one, especially since I was going to be part of that kind of puzzle making, I needed to do my work long in advance, rehearse, prepare the character, have a strong sense of what I wanted to do, and not assume that I was going to have the room and time to sort of make it up on the day. The same is true for directing. This is a big scale period film, right? We shot a 1950s film in modern New York. It has 685 effects shots in it, and we were doing it on a price and in only 46 days. So we had to shoot this film in 46 days, which is less than many films I've done that were much less complicated than this. And the only way we got that done was relentless preparation, like triple the amount of preparation probably you normally do. And honestly, I learned that watching filmmakers like Spike Lee, like who was one of my heroes, affected me when I was coming up as a college student, and I was lucky enough to work with him. And one of the things I realized about Spike is, for all his kind of funny energy, he's the most maniacally prepared director that I've ever worked with. He moves through his days as like a football coach who has already drawn all the schematics. I've never worked with anybody that prepared, and I remember working with him and going, oh my God, like I'm going to school on this guy. He's teaching me something every day about how to get a lot of work done fast. And that was, we couldn't have made this film at this scale and the things without that approach to it.
Wow. Edward Norton, thank you so much for being a guest today on Upfront. We're really excited about this film and can't wait for the rest of the world to see this amazing piece of artwork.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. All right. Motherless Brooklyn arrives in theaters on November the 1st. That's our show for today, folks. You can always tune into Upfront on WCLK 91.9, Saturdays at 9 a.m. You can also listen to us on WCLK.com. Have a great one. Tonight's program has been brought to you by Upfront, inside Atlanta's entertainment industry. Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Atlanta's Jazz Station, Jazz 91.9 WCLK.